Okay, so let's finish talking about the 6 hour conversation. That brought me out of my plateau period, so I could stop saying plateau period. um, so the 2 years that I was on my own at my home, just falling apart, getting worse and worse every day, really struggling, really in like this the deepest, darkest hole that you could imagine. Like everything was so dark for me, and things were happening to my house, right? Like there was things piling up, there was just shit everywhere. I felt overwhelmed by it. I was working full-time at the time. I did have I had, the kids and then the baby, on my own fully. And it was just, it seemed like things just kept accumulating and I couldn't get a handle on it. And every damn room, there was just like stuff, stuff just everywhere. And I would come out of my room and I'm like, oh my God, it was just like things were just everywhere. And then my house started falling apart, like my bathroom, my shower, there was water damage. When that gigantic storm happened in California, my roof started leaking in 3 areas, and it ended up rotting out the drywall and everything in the ceiling, and I literally had 3 holes. I would always joke like, "Oh my God, it was freaking Jumanji," because like it was like a hole was in my ceiling, and then like it rained and it stormed, and like hail was coming inside my house through the holes, damaging the walls, damaging the stuff. The ceiling and the roof were for sure damaged, and I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my God, my husband would fix anything. He would make sure it got done, right? And I'm just like, everything just was falling apart around me. Didn't know how to get a grapple on it. Didn't know how to get ahead of it. Didn't understand how I was ever going to get out of this mess. And it was just deeper and darker and more overwhelming, and it almost was like everywhere I turned to like figure something out, I couldn't. And like I'm the kind of person that like if there's wiggle room, I'll find it. Like I'm in my natural state, not having been in such profound grief and not having an overwhelming drug addiction, like in my natural normal state, I find wiggle room. I'll figure things out. I'm resourceful, I'm productive, I'm educated. Like I definitely know how to hustle, all of that, but that was falling by the wayside more and more, right? Like I just couldn't find a way to get my footing, to be myself again. So I was just like falling into such a just super dark place, because everywhere I looked there was a mess. And also the structure of the house was starting to fall apart. And roofs are very expensive. Like I was starting to think, how am I going to even pay for this? Because my husband could fix anything, but if he couldn't, he could hustle and get the money. And not just that, he knew people that could do almost everything. He networked, and he worked with other people and on different trades, right? So he'd do trees for somebody that could maybe come do the roof. And all that was gone. I didn't have those options. So I didn't have that wiggle room. And also, like I said, I was in such a fog, and I was so overwhelmed by it. You know how when you're just like, you have so much to do that you do nothing? That's kind of like the habit. That's kind of like, that was the routine that I started to fall into. Is like, there's so much to do, I'm doing absolutely nothing because I'm like overwhelmed. So when Tony Hawk came over, I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be able to help me, and I can trust him around my kids. I can trust him to be here, and I can trust him to share these things with, like my addiction. Like I had not told anybody that I had relapsed and was really struggling. So I was able to share that with him. We talked about it that night, more of a past history problem. Another couple of visits later, I told him that I was currently still using. So that was a tough conversation. But the reason why Tony Hawk was, in my opinion, like divinely guided to me, and I was divinely guided to him, was because of the fact that he really understood. Like he had a past history with the same drug. So I asked him if I can share that, and he said I could. I don't know why I have such a hard time talking about certain things. Anyways, so besides the fact that he had a past history with the same drug that I was struggling with, and he came out there in good faith, right? He came out there with pure intentions. He's like, what can I do? How can I help you? Like, he cared about my kids. He cared about me. Like I said, family, friends, like, it was all good intentions, and I knew that right away, and I was able to share those things. But besides him sharing a past drug addiction with the same drug that I was struggling with, he also told me, I don't know how you feel, having the baby and all the grief I was going through. He's like, I'm not going to say I know how you feel, but I do know how it feels to raise a baby on your own. Because when he was 16, him and his girlfriend, they were teen parents. They had a little boy. And when the baby was 11 days old, his girlfriend, the baby's mom, died. She had a heart condition. And he had to raise his son on his own as a teen father. So, I mean, I think that was one of the things that he kept thinking about during that plateau period when I was really struggling, and he was at home thinking about, she needs my help. I should go out there and see if she needs anything. And then remembering what my husband had told him, like, if anything happened to me, could you help me out? Could you help Amber out? Could you take care of her? I think when he found out that I was also pregnant, he was like, holy shit. Like, it just seemed like so divine. Like, he's like, yeah, clearly I'm supposed to go out there and, like, be there for this woman and her children. So that is just so mind-blowing to me. Like, I knew obviously I knew his history about the drugs, and I knew about his girlfriend that he lost, and I went to her services and everything, we're close family friends, as I said. So I knew it all, but I didn't know what my husband had told him. So, like I said, I think for him, he had been thinking about that for those couple years. Like, man, I really feel, like I said, guided to come out. And so that's how things started with us. It's like, oh my gosh, this is really something that I need. It felt like such a turning point for me. And also, like, I was, like, excited again, like, I really wasn't lying to all those people when I said I'm not participating in love. Like, I don't want to do love. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, I need to be here for my kids. I need to, they only have one parent. I always, would always say, they only have one parent. I need to be here. Like, I'm not going to be off with some dude trying to, replace, like, that feeling again. Like, I just didn't want to go there. I wanted to heal. And I wanted to take a long period of time before my kids had to see me with another man. Like, a long time. But because my kids already knew him, and it was like a family friend, him coming out to help with the lawn and to chat with me, and we would always end up sitting on the porch and just talking and catching up, talking about our day. Like, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, the kids are gonna feel some type of way about it. Like, it was almost like, for me, it just felt perfect. I wish, that's what it felt like. It felt like it felt perfect. And as things were, he would come out more and more, I was just like, could I be lucky? Could I be lucky again? Do I deserve to be lucky again and have an honest, good, loyal man that loves me twice in one lifetime? Wow.